Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider for his team Visma alongside four-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert he suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour of Rhône Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ujoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ujoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalouri, who has spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethel picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Manarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the Cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with club media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider for his team Visma alongside four-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert he suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour of Rhône Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ujoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ujoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalori, who was spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethell picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Mannarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Khan says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with club media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Röhl to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, and Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider for his team Visma alongside 4-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert will suffer the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour of Vendôme Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ojoma and Noah Kalori will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ojoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalori, who has spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethell picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Mannarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently two standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with club media, Carl has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that two candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, and midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, and Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider for his team Visma alongside four-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert he suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour Avon-Rhône Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ujoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ujoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalouri, who was spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents aerially in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethel picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Manarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Carl says there are currently two standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with club media, Carl has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that two candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, and midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also in football, and Hull could face points deductions in the Premier League in the upcoming season. The Tigers have an overspend of about £6 million on their profit and sustainability calculation. Under the English Football League rules, that could lead to a 6-point penalty. Cycling now, and Belgium's Wout van Aert is set to miss next month's Tour de France with an elbow injury. The 31-year-old is a key rider for his team Visma alongside four-time Grand Tour winner Jonas Vingegaard. Van Aert he suffered the injury after falling in training before last week's Tour Avon-Rhône Alpes stage in France, and an infection developed in his elbow. Moving on to rugby union now, and Max Ujoma and Noah Kalouri will have the chance to press their case for test starts after being named in the England backline to take on a France 15 in a non-cap match in Van on Friday. Centre Ajoma scored a try and was named player of the match in the win over Argentina in November, but he's not played for his country since. 19-year-old Kalori, who was spelled out his ambition to make his England debut this summer, topped the Prem Gallagher's season try-scoring charts and dominated opponents airily in a sensational breakout season with Saracens. Cricket now, and day one of the second test of the Oval between New Zealand and England is finally poised after the opening day. New Zealand were put into bat after England won the toss, and they reached 291 for 7 at the close of play. Tom Blundell made the highest score of the day. He made 51. As for England, where their top bowler was Sonny Baker making his debut, he took 2 for 63, and Jacob Bethel picked up 2 cheap wickets late on, as he had figures of 2 for 8 from his 5 overs. Archer, Fisher and Tongue all took 1 wicket. And finally, now finishing with a couple of stories in tennis, and British number 5 Arthur Ferry has kept the home hopes alive at the Queen's Championships as he's moved into the quarter-finals after beating Adrian Manarino. The world number 140 has reached his first ATP Tour quarter-final with a 7-6, 6-4 victory over the veteran Frenchman. And finally in tennis, and British stalwart Dan Evans will have to go through qualifying to make the main draw of the men's singles at Wimbledon after missing out on a wild card. The 36-year-old, who announced last week that he would end his tennis career after the Grand Slam, had hoped to receive one of the 8 singles wildcards to guarantee an emotional final appearance at his home Grand Slam. However, the final remaining places were awarded to British pair Harry Wendelken and Felix Gill on Wednesday. That's for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Fulham Vice Chair and Director of Football Operations Tony Khan says there are currently 2 standout candidates to replace Marco Silva, who have had several meetings with the board. It's understood the Cottagers have been advancing in talks with Alvaro Arbeloa, who spent the second half of last season in charge of Real Madrid. But in an interview with club media, Khan has suggested that there is no frontrunner for the job at this stage. However, he said that 2 candidates have met with the board several times. Sticking in football, and Rangers and RB Salzburg have completed a deal for Danny Roll to join the Austrian and Bundesliga outfit. The 37-year-old will depart despite insisting he was committed to the summer rebuild at the Ibrox club. Also in football, midfielder Bernardo Silva has joined Real Madrid on a 2-year deal, linking up with manager Jose Mourinho. Silva left Man City at the end of last season, bringing an end to a trophy-laden 9-year spell. Also,
the tournament, it's one of the most early ones, isn't it? Morocco scored, I think it was 71 seconds against Scotland. It'd be interesting to see what that is. But Galaza, a man who's come in, as you said as well, to the 11. It's low, it's driven. Does it take a deflection? I'm not too sure. It catches the keeper out for sure. I think he hits it sweetly into the corner, and it picks up power and pace off the inside of the post as well, watching the replay back. When you hit it so low and it bobbles off the surface, it picks up even more momentum. What a strike, what a start for Paraguay. And it couldn't have, you can see in the background as well as Paraguay fans, they're now the ones bouncing. I mean, Turkey now, they're 3-0 down over 2 games. It's not the World Cup they would have wanted.
No, certainly not, but it is the exact start that Paraguay would have been dreaming for. They got that goal, of course, against America, but it was a consolation to say the least. Well, already they've given themselves something to hold on to this evening with that early thunderbolt from Galaza. As we mentioned already, 1 or 2 changes coming into this one, and that is a fantastic effort to get his side ahead. Disaster for Vincenzo Mottella and the Turkish national side. But if there's any positive to take, they've got plenty of time to get themselves back into this one. Well, what a moment for the Atlanta United man, only 24 years of age, not a bad way to open up your World Cup account. And as Turkey straight away looking to try and come back on the attack and respond. As there's some hustling and harrying in midfield. Paraguay thought they'd win it back. Then a couple of brilliant challenges to take the ball away from Kenan Yildiz. And once again they're trying to move through midfield. Oh, that's not a good tackle. That is really not a good tackle from the goal scorer. Galaza came flying in midfield. I think it's Yuksek who's been caught. I tell you what, he could be in trouble. Straight away, yellow card brandished by Ivan Barton, our referee. I tell you what, he's very, very lucky he's kept low to the ground there. I think it will just be a yellow. But we've seen a few of those already coming from Paraguay. They've come flying in. And I tell you, Eunice Atgun has been caught, and there's not a nice challenge at all.
No, it's not. And I think you're right. I think as well he's lucky that if that's possible, if that's with studs, you could
He's gone.
It's a red card, isn't it? He's lucky in the sense of how he goes in for it. It's a real whack as well. But you were right, probably a 15-20 seconds of just hustling and bustling in the middle, tackles flying in. It was one of them that I assume you were maybe thinking along the same lines of you're just waiting for that swap out. You're waiting for, right, this is getting that hectic in this quiet, short period. Someone's going to go in for a late tackle. Someone's going to mistime it. And he does take a real whack there, does the Turkey midfielder. And now Galaza, if anything, and I think if anything, that's because Paraguay have got the goal. Everyone's just so up for it. It's that, and you take some that. You just need to now calm it down. You 1-0 up. Just calm down. Galaza's come in, and well, at 5 minutes in, he's got a goal, and he's got a yellow card that, again, a little bit higher, or with studs, it's a red card, isn't it? So he's now got to calm down. Almost, I had him down in the midfield of a 4-4-2 next to Cubas. He's a little bit further forward, isn't he? I don't know if it's a 5 at the back for Paraguay, or he's further forward a little bit more, but he's been given a bit more license to go forward, and well, my word, he's been electric and feisty so far.
Yeah, I think Ivan Barton has just had a word with Hakan Çalhanoğlu and Gustavo Gomez just to say, look, I'm fine with the challenges going in, but there was a few that were on the edge in that sort of 30-second spell, and eventually the line was crossed with that challenge from Galaza. And rightly so, he was carded for that tackle on Eunice Atgun. I'll run you through the lineups in a moment or so, as that's another foul given away in midfield. That's not a great tackle at all. I think that was Yüksek. Indeed, it was a 27-year-old midfielder. Goes right through the back of Miguel Almiron after the ball is played, and rightly so. The referee blows for a free kick, but it does give me a chance for running through the lineups in full. For Turkey, it's Çakır in goal. Back for Kadioglu, Badakci, Demiral and Mulder. Midfield 2, Çalhanoğlu and Yüksek, with Yildiz, Gula and Atgun supporting Artukoglu through the middle. As for Paraguay, it's Hill in goal. Back for Cáceres, Gomez, Alderete and Alonso. Midfield 4 of Almiron, Cubas, Gomez and Galaza, with Pitta and then Ciso making up the front two. So there's 2 Gomez's in the Paraguay side this evening. Gustavo Gomez is the captain, and the 33-year-old centre-half is Diego Gomez, who Premier League fans will be aware of, the 23-year-old forward, come midfielder, who plays for Brighton. I'll try and distinguish between the two as best as I can throughout the game, as it looks as though finally, just under 7 minutes gone, this game may have just settled down. Having said that, I'm not sure I want it to settle down, Lewis. I was quite enjoying the frantic nature of it beforehand. Certainly if we're going to see more goals like that scored by Galaza, are we expecting to see a bit more of that, particularly from Turkey now they're 1-0 down, or do we think it's going to settle into a bit more of a tamer game?
I think if you're Paraguay, you do want it to settle into tame just because you do have the 1-0 lead, whereas... But at the same time, they're thriving in the chaotic nature, aren't they? So I don't know if you do have... You just, from the nature of being 1-0 up, you want to control and slow a game down. But Paraguay look to be, as I say, thriving in it. But here come Turkey. Yeah,
they are. That's not a bad ball in there from Mulder. One of the 3 changes made coming into this one. But nobody really inside the penalty area to challenge for it. I quite like Kerem Artukoglu from when I've seen him play for Fenerbahce, but he's hardly the tallest forward by any stretch of the imagination. Standing at less than 2 metres tall, way less than 2 metres tall. In fact, is he going to be that target man inside the penalty area? I'd be shocked if he is, as that's an attempted ball on the near side by Galaza. They do have a target man to Paraguay to aim for in Isidro Pita, who plays his football in Brazil. So we've got another issue on the near side. The referee just gesturing that throw-in is taking too long to be taken. Eventually it is thrown in, but Turkey will deal with it just. Lovely footwork there from Yüksek to get away from a couple, and he'll look to try and feed Kenan Yildiz over on the far side. It's not a bad ball if the Juventus man can keep it in. He can. 1-on-1 now with Almiron over on the far side. We'll play it inside to Çalhanoğlu. Yildiz continues his run over on the far side. Çalhanoğlu will then move it across to Mulder. Mulder has options left and right. We'll move it down the line to Arda Gula. He's going to have to be so important this evening for Turkey. Gula, spread ball over onto the far side for Yildiz. brought down nicely, wants it on his right boot, trying to cross it into the penalty area, been blocked well in the end by Cáceres, and out of play for a throw-in over on the far side. Good play from Turkey to try and get it moving. There's a Paraguay man who's hit the deck over on the far side. It's Cáceres again through absolutely minimal contact. You can see the game plan from Paraguay, and I'm here for it now they've got the early goal.
Yeah, they're just trying to make a nuisance of themselves. It's him and Kadioglu, and there's just a bit of push and shove. He pushes him.
That was brilliant.
Then the San Francisco Breeze takes him down. I'm not too sure there. The referee's just basically, again, had a word with the two players. As you said, he had a word with the skippers over the tackles and said, right, the throw-in was taken. I'm just going to bring it back to being a throw-in, and we're going to go again. But what a start it's been. And that's another tackle coming in from Cáceres. But I think he's won the throw-in, actually, so he's done really well. I covered the Paraguay game. I thought he was incredibly poor at right back. Yes, up against Christian Pulisic. First home game for the USA. Pulisic is a top player, but Cáceres, I thought, just wasn't. It was a big stage and he didn't live up to it. But if anything, he's looking a bit more bitey in the game so far, and it's suiting him.
It's a cool 17 degrees this evening in San Francisco, but 78% humidity, so a bit of a humid one, where it looks like there's a bit of a breeze, though it has to be said, at the home of the San Francisco 49ers at Levi Stadium. 10 minutes gone in this one, though. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. That early screamer from Matias Galarza. The difference between the two sides at the moment. It's been a thoroughly entertaining game so far in the opening 10 minutes. There's a lofted ball into the penalty area. Isn't a bad one from Miguel Almiron over on the far side. Cleared away well by Mulder. Then the ball bounced around the midfield. Strike again comes in from distance, and it's Diego Gomez on this occasion who catches it, almost catches it too sweetly, and fires it straight into the crowd behind the goal. That's definitely hit someone. There's a few truckling behind the goal, it has to be said, in Turkey shirts, but ultimately the result is still the same. A goal kick to the European side, in which they will try and get moving quickly to their goalkeeper Çakır. Moves it over to Bardakci. Both teammates at Galatasaray, those two had a fantastic season, not just in the Turkish Super League, which of course they won, but also as well in European football as well. Was thoroughly impressed with them in the Champions League. They maybe didn't go as deep as they would have liked, losing to Liverpool over the course of two legs, but they caused a number of teams problems, and they were thoroughly entertaining, it has to be said. Here it is now with Murad Demiral, who plays his football in Saudi Arabia with Al Ali. Here it is now with Arda Güler, across back to Bardakci, who will step forward and feed Yildiz, left hand side, one-on-one with Cáceres, gets away from him initially, then lays it back to Kadioglu, spread onto the near side by Yüksek towards Mulder, brings it down well, feeds Güler, back over now to Bardakci. Bardakci has the run down the line of Yildiz into Kadioglu, into the penalty area, back to Yildiz once more. Here is Çalhanoğlu, feeds Güler, does well to hold onto the ball initially, then he's hounded out of it by Diego Gomez, and now the counter-attack's there for Paraguay. Gomez feeds Enciso, he's almost got goal side there of Demiral. The Turkish centre-half does well in the end to get back at the former Brighton Hove Albion man, and then the ball is put out of play for a throw-in on the near side by Mert Mulder. Lovely counter-attacking football there from Paraguay. And Enciso was just maybe half a yard quicker. He's in there one-on-one there with Çakır.
Oh, he is. It's a good run. It's a good ball, as you say. You can just see it from a mile away that Enciso can just get there a second early. He does well, I think, to get a hold of the ball. But what a 13 minutes we've had here so far in San Francisco. It's been an electric start, as you say. Turkey, when they get on the ball, Arda Güler basically, he's that number 10, but just go wherever you want. Drop deep, go far. But here comes Turkey.
Yeah, Enciso done too much with it and giving it away. Here now is Artakoglu inside the penalty area, tries to square it across, looking towards Arda Güler. Not a great clearance, it's formed back to Artakoglu. Strike comes in from the edge of the box from Güler again, and this time it's over the crossbar and out of play for a goal kick. Both sides at times have been sloppy in possession. They've allowed counter-attacks to come in from the opposition. Just on this occasion, Turkey unable to make Paraguay pay, and in the end, comfortably over the crossbar from Arda Güler.
He does ever so well there, does Artakoglu. just to find his teammate on the edge of the area. I think because he's ricocheted, he could have let it go out for a corner, but I think he realised, no, the attack is on. We've got bodies forward, and to a degree, I just think it's a little bit unlucky that he don't fall on the left peg for Ardagula, because he's got a great left peg, very right-footed. But for the first time, I think it happened in the Brazil game where he just covered too long for a goal kick that has been taken. So now Turkey have a corner. Ardagula is a great dead ball specialist. Watch him not hit the first man on the corner here. But now Turkey, if they can take advantage of this Paraguay mistake and make it 1-1, then that's a brilliant chance for them.
I have to say, I'm loving the refereeing of Ivan Barton this evening. He can see that Paraguay are trying to play with the dark arts, which I don't mind. I totally understand it when they're in the position they're in. But Ivan Barton very much drawing the line where it needs to be drawn. Very, very impressive refereeing so far. Either way, chance to come in now from the corner. Ardagula raises his right arm as to be a left-footed in-swinger from the near side. Gula towards the near post, headed away by Diego Gomez, and Ciso tries to gather the second ball. Doesn't do as well as he would have liked. It's been given away to Yüksek, and all of a sudden Turkey have the ball back, but back at their goalkeeper Çakir. Long ball sent over the top, looking towards Artukoglu. He's brought that down well under pressure from Cáceres, and he'll lay it off to Kenan Yildiz. Yildiz trying to get away from a couple in navy blue, and he's done brilliantly. Kenan Yildiz straight towards goal, blocked well by Gomez. Here, though, the chance still is for Turkey. That's been given away. Good interception made by Almiron, and Almiron can try and stretch his legs, and he'll play a ball in behind, looking towards Pitter. Is he onside? The flag stays down for a moment, cuts back in on his right boot. Still going here, Pitter boards the box towards Enciso. Is intercepted well by Yüksek, and eventually the flag goes up for offside. Both sides are so good at going from back to front ever so quickly, and it just means this game is being played at such a frantic pace. I love it for the minute, but give me 10 minutes longer of having to try and talk at this pace, and maybe I'll have a different view. But as of right now, I'm thoroughly enjoying this game of football. We were discussing it, weren't we? I think on face value, Turkey-Paraguay probably doesn't seem like one of the best games at the World Cup, but both teams very much still within a shout of qualifying if they win this evening. So the win is huge. So effectively, both teams have had to go for it. They've really had to say, look, we're going to have to play for goals here, because not only do we need the win, we could probably do with the extra goal difference, particularly if you're Paraguay, as that gun with the ball into the box, sees the ball bounce straight into the hands of Orlando Gil, and he'll hold on to it for a second before launching this one. Look, but so ultimately, I think it's proven once again that it's so easy to turn up your nose to games of the quote-unquote lesser nations, but very often these turn out to be some of the best games at the tournament.
100%. We were speaking about the Iran and New Zealand game. That was an absolute barnstorm, a 2-2 there, wasn't it? Great from start to finish. And I just think it's one of them where, for another game as well, you covered the South Korea Czech Republic game, didn't you? 2-1. Not the best first half, but it was a really good second half. And you just see players, everyone knows who Son is, the former Spurs man. But it was one of them, Kang-in Lee plays for PSG, but plays a bit part role. And you see him and you go, oh, he's not impressive. Plays for South Korea and you go, what a player he is. You just see players given more freedom, more responsibility, and how they react to it. Almiron, he had that purple patch at Newcastle, bar that, didn't have a great spell at St James's Park. You watch him for Paraguay, he looks like a different player because he's for his nation, isn't it? So you're right, you just see players step up to Ardagula plays for Real Madrid. He looks like a different player for Turkey most of the time. He really lives up to the hype, if you will. So that's so important. And you're right, and if anything, because it is must win, as you say, both teams they can't afford anything, and it might be that Turkey score a long-range effort because you can't give an inch to either of these sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Sat very deep at the moment at Paraguay, looking to try and hold on to this early one-goal lead. Turkey, though, putting the squeeze on, just to say that ball given away. Here's Enciso now trying to move his side forward. Almiron trying to skip away from Kadioglu, held up well by the Brighton man. There's a number of players associated with Brighton in this game, aren't there? Obviously, Enciso formerly of Brighton, but Diego Gomez still at the South Coast side. Ferdi Kadioglu as well had a pretty decent season for the Seagulls. I'm sure both will be looking to kick on next season under Fabian Hürzeler. As focus remains on this game. 18 minutes gone, independent off Tube Studio based commentary. Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. But here comes Kadioglu down the near side. Challenge comes in from Gustavo Gomez. He's absolutely incensed. He's not been given a goal kick, the Palmeiras centre half. But the referee points to the corner. And it'll be an opportunity for Çalhanoğlu to swing this one in. You mentioned to expect moments like that from Gustavo Gomez this evening. He was certainly impassioned about wanting the decision to go his way. He didn't in the end, and now he's got a bit of defending to do. Çalhanoğlu now with a right-footed ball in towards the 6-yard box. Great header away by Gomez. Gula will try and recycle, but it's been given away, and now a chance for Paraguay to come forward. Gula, though, with a great challenge, denies Galaza the opportunity to run forward. Diego Gomez now will put Gula under a bit of pressure. In fact, it's Almiron, but in the end he's gone back through Arda Gula, and I think it's fair to say Gustavo Alfaro not overly happy with his number 10 as he goes through the back of the Real Madrid man.
It's just because you know what's coming, you know that Gula knows under pressure, right, if I just get my body in the way, I know that the man's going to come in behind me, and it's a soft one, but look, if Almiron was in the same position, he'd do that. It's what happened in the game, but Turkey, they've been impressive coming forward, but Paraguay defending very well. Yeah,
absolutely. They forced some mistakes from Turkey in that final third, and they've done so once again, and Ciso now trying to turn away from his man will feed Galaza. One ball sent forward then by Alonso on the near side. Turkey continuing in a similar vein as they did in that game against Australia. Plenty of the ball, still unable to trouble the goalkeeper. So they romped the XG battle in that game against Australia, I think it's fair to say. But ultimately the only stat that matters is the final score. And it finished Australia 2, Turkey 0, which means that the Europeans have got it all to do this evening. Here they come again with Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Lofted ball over onto the far side, looking towards Yildiz. Lovely first touch to bring it down. Marshalled well, though, by Juan Caceres over on the far side. Lovely defending from him. Yildiz, though, has a throw in, and I thought he was going to take himself. Instead, he's going to leave for Ferdi Karaoglu. We'll throw it back now to Badakci, away from a couple before Yildiz picks it up again. Yildiz trying to swing the ball into the box. It's defended well again by Caceres, and out of play for corner. I'm starting to think we've sold him a little bit short here, Caceres, after his performances against the United States, because he's been fantastic so far in the opening 20 minutes of this one.
He has. He stood up to the task, hasn't he? Look, everyone has a poor game, so maybe he's even looked at himself and gone, I wasn't good enough, I need to do better. Turkey have put a few good crosses in, I think, from corners as well, but Paraguay have just defended them great.
Yeah, absolutely. Corner swinging to the box, decent punch away there from Orlando Hills. That chance is still there, though. Ball swinging this time by Çalhanoğlu on the near side. Again, it's cleared away. Çalhanoğlu now will try and swing into the penalty area. He's been closed down. Karaoglu, though, picks up the loose ball along halfway, floats over onto the far side, looking back towards his skipper again. Caceres will head away and out of play for a throw-in, which again is taken quickly by Turkey, this time by Kenan Yildiz. Yildiz, left-hand side, gets the ball back off of Yüksek. Down the line for Çalhanoğlu. He'll pick it back up once again after the quick 1-2 on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Yüksek once again, the Fenerbahce midfielder. Oh, that's a poor pass from Mulder, looking down the line for Arda Gula. And now a chance for Paraguay to come forward. That's a lovely bit of skill from Galaza. And here's Pitter driving forward. Right-footed ball to the box is a poor one. Easily intercepted by Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And Turkey can come forward now as Arda Gula's fouled there in midfield by Kubas. Ball quickly played over onto the far side for Ferdi Karaoglu, though, who will drive forward. Plenty of space here for Turkey. Yildiz wants it on his right boot. He's held up well by Caceres once again, and he's brought down, is he, by the Dinamo Zagreb man? Sorry, not Dinamo Zagreb, Dinamo Moscow man. Indeed he is, and that's going to be a foul for Turkey, or a free kick I should say for Turkey, and an opportunity for them to get the ball into the box once again. I keep trying to bring you in here, Lewis, after one move breaks down and then straight down the other end the other team goes. To me, in the minute, Paraguay almost feel like they're rushing their attacks going forward. You know, Pitter, I think, has got to show a bit more composure there and drive closer towards the penalty area, or laid off earlier on.
No, you're 100% right. He almost tries to take the touch, get his head up, play the pass. To take a further touch, drive further forward, bring players out to you, and then play the pass. As well, let's be quite honest, you're preferring Ciso on the ball, for example, and Pitter in the box, wouldn't you? But another dangerous free kick.
Free kick swung in by Çalhanoğlu, headed up and away by Diego Gomez. Out of play for a corner over on the far side. Brilliant bit of defending there from the Brighton man. He's a tall figure, Paraguay's number 8. For a forward-come midfielder, he certainly has got the stature to him. Another corner to be swung in, though, by Çalhanoğlu. This time towards a penalty spot where Badakci was waiting. Headed away well, only as far as Arda Gula, who's under pressure from Miguel Almiron. Brilliant bit of defensive play there from the Atlanta United man, forcing the ball all the way back to Çakır. He'll quickly, though, play the ball forward into midfield now for Akgun. Yildiz trying to turn away from his man. He's been challenged well by Kubas. And then Almiron will give the ball away as Yildiz wins it back. Great play from Kenan Yildiz. And then Turkey told to calm it down by Ardagula. You can understand why. Game again becoming stretched and frantic, which I don't think overly suits the Turkish, I'll be brutally honest. As here it is with Ardagula once more. Down the near side for Mulder. Mulder now back to Yunus Akgun. Akgun into Chanaloglu. Chanaloglu across to Badakci, who stepped out of the back four to move the ball forward. Here's Kadioglu back down the line for Badakci. Ball into the box is not a bad one. Mulder will try and head back towards Artakoglu. And in the end, Paraguay can get clear 40 yards away from goal, where Ardagula will pick it up. Ardagula fancies his effort from 35 yards, but that's been easily blocked and cleared away by Paraguay. Still, though, the Turks come forward. Here it is with Yunus Akgun. Akgun held up well in midfield. We'll play it on to the near side for Yüksek. Yüksek back along halfway for Demiral. I have to say, that run from Badakci down the left-hand side was absolutely superb. And in the end, you just wish that somebody else had committed, or Badakci had looked up and seen that Çalhanoğlu had picked up a decent space at the corner of the penalty area.
If he gets his head up, Çalhanoğlu is a pass, as you say. And also, I think the ball, is it a little bit overhit for Artakoglu? Yes. If you had a bigger forward in there, I think that's somebody who can rise and try head in. You spoke about that already, that's unfortunately something that Turkey just don't have in this game. I think they have all the technicians in the world and some great players, but Artakoglu, yes, he's a striker. I'm not saying he's a bad finisher, but they don't have that real poacher of a number 9 who can sniff a chance out. But at the moment, in Paraguay, they're sitting, but whenever the ball comes near that midfield, there's something tense out there, so they're saving energy when they can. What we will say is, it might just be about to come now. I was about to say hydration break. You know what? If the intensity can stay like this, let's have a hydration break just to keep the intensity up here, because this is not going to be sustainable for 90 minutes. As you said, your voice will need a bit of a rest most of the time, but the hydration break does come. But it's a good time for both sides, because they've put so much into these 25 minutes. It's been great to watch, as you say, and these are the teams you spoke about, some of the little nations against each other. Sometimes they're the real diamond in the rough games of the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, going back to your point about Turkey having a striker, they did obviously for quite a while. You know, Burak Yilmaz, Cenk Tosun, they had those options through the middle. Now you look towards their forward options. Obviously, you've got Kerem Aktürkoğlu, who is starting through the middle. You've got Deniz Gül, the 21-year-old who's at Porto, but isn't necessarily a natural goal scorer. 6 goals in 41 appearances in all competitions for Porto this season. Still trying to find his feet in the Primera Division. Outside of him, you're struggling to really find a proper number 9, someone you think you can really trust through the middle. So a lot of the pressure, you'd say, is laid at the feet of Aktürkoğlu, and so he's going to have to turn up at some point and get himself in that position. We've just seen replays of that goal again from Galaza. We could spend 90 minutes watching that goal. I'd never get bored of it. I mean, you've got to feel for Uğurcan Şakir. He's got absolutely no chance. The camera pans to him afterwards. I'm not really sure what more he could do. There's not a goalkeeper in the world who's getting that low down that quickly. It's a brilliant strike from Galaza, and he will be absolutely delighted with it. There's the celebrations as well that we're now seeing that we didn't get to see originally. Absolutely fantastic. I love seeing international celebrations where you can tell that they're a group of players that really enjoy playing with each other and really are having a good time, as they should be as well. I mean, it's many people's dream to play at a World Cup, and obviously only a small number of people really get to live out that dream. And well, they are getting to live out that dream, Paraguay, and as things stand, they're putting themselves in a half-decent position to go on and qualify as one of the best third-place teams. We've already said that tonight in the early game that only one team currently out of those third-place teams have won a game. That, of course, being Scotland, but not many have played 2. Only Scotland have currently, as things stand. Paraguay will go up to third with this win against Turkey. Of course, it depends how many they win by, because if they win by more than well, I think actually, in fact, I might be wrong. They might have already gone up to second on goal difference. No, not quite, because of that battering they took against the United States. But they're not far away from leapfrogging Australia, put it that way. Either way, we are past the hydration break point, which means we're into the second quarter of this one. Fantastic game of football so far. I'm going to hand it over to Lewis to take us through to full time.
Cheers, Luke. It does resemble a bit of a basketball game, doesn't it? So
and American football stadium.
It does. It's been a fantastic game, as you say. Look, we all know it will drop off intensity. Well, it's got to, if anything, because they've got to play a third group game and they want to go to the knockouts. You've got to play it a bit smart, but you're right, it's been an absolutely lovely watch so far. Turkey with a lot of possession, hitting about 80%, maybe even a little bit more, give or take, but about 82% of the ball for Turkey. I think they've put some great crosses in. I just think Paraguay are defending them excellently well. Speaking of set pieces, I've got another one here. Yıldız's ball was blocked away, so Kalanoglu on the far side will have another set piece opportunity. It's whipped in, decent delivery, nodded away. Atakoglu gets there, strike comes in on the edge of the area there from Yıldız. A bicycle kick, an acrobatic finish, never to say the least. And Ziso with the header, looking to play it forward. It would have nicely fallen for the goal scorer, Galaza. Unfortunately, the header from Enciso just hit the back of the head of the Paraguayan goal scorer, so Turkey gets the ball back. But Paraguay, look, for them, it's about seeing this game out now. I know it's a long time. They're playing some good stuff on the counter-attack, but at the moment, more defending to do. Mulder, good piece of play there, takes it past Galaza. He's already on a yellow card as well. Don't think the referee, as Luke Bradford pointed out, Ivan Bartok, he's had a great game so far. Love how he's officiated this game. It's not a yellow card, but it's almost, you've got that yellow card for quite a bad tackle. Just got to be careful now. That's almost your half warning, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have to be careful, Galaza. He's been very passionate so far in this game. I think is probably the right word. There's another cross comes in, and again, that looks like it's been pretty well dealt with by Paraguay as the offside flag goes up either way. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Just got to be careful. The last thing Paraguay can afford is to go down to 10 in this one.
And you spoke about the goal difference as well. Well, the USA, after beating Australia 2-0, massive +5 goal difference for Pochettino's USA, whereas Australia, yes, still second and above Paraguay due to goal difference, but they are on 0. So, as Luke rightfully pointed out, goal difference could be massive in this game. I'm not going to sit here and say I think Paraguay are winning 4 or 5-0, but maybe a 2-goal buffer would be something they'd be very much after in this game. As Luke said, from that free kick, the offside flag went up, so it's a free kick just inside the Paraguayan box. Ball forward for Peter, just over his head and back to Turkey. It will go long ball forward, easily headed away by Alderete there. We'll say again, the high Alderete and Gomez, two really good headers of the ball. Lovely play in the middle there from Sk, trying to drive down his left hand side. He's got a great pass into Yıldız, puts it through the legs of Cáceres, but he doesn't give up. Ball clearance there in the middle, back into the box it goes. Well defended there from Cáceres. Again, he doesn't always maybe win that first ball, but he's always there to win the second. He never gives up on the ball. He's one of them where, well, I'm loving seeing he might make a mistake, but then he gets back to save his other one. That's a great tackle there.
Great tackle from behind. It really is. Very, very impressive. He's been fantastic defensively so far in this one. But Paraguay don't need their fullbacks to be bombing on forward like Turkey do. They're more than happy to just sit in a flat back four. It's working out brilliantly. Very, very good piece of defending. And right now, Kenan Yıldız is being nullified pretty well.
I don't know, maybe for Juventus he plays more centrally, but that is Arda Güler's position. I don't know if maybe there's no offence to Atgun, he's actually a really good piece of play as well. I think Yıldız is, as you say, I think he's quite isolated on that left hand side as well, but as you say, he has really been nullified by the duo of Almiron and Cáceres. Kalanoglu back to his skipper, and again a lot of possession here for Turkey. If you are joining us, just over half an hour played, 32 and a half on the clock. Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. A goal inside at least 90 seconds or so from Mateus Galaza, a sub coming into this game. An absolute thunderstrike outside the area. Hit it so low, driven well. Nothing that the goalkeeper could do about it, and he wins a free kick there against Mulder, the fullback. That's been a good battle so far. Galaza, the goal scorer, though, the only player on a yellow card, so something he's got to be careful about. Alonso takes a free kick short and back to Alderete, who will go long looking for Almiron. Gets into the bread basket of the keeper, who bowls it out to Kalioglu quickly, and the Seagulls fullback will quickly drive forward. Yildiz makes a nice run, tries to find him. Gomez reads it ever so well, tackles, wins the ball. It might even fall for Pitter, no it doesn't, but once again it's just because they're sitting back a bit. Yildiz, it's not a bad ball. Maybe if that's a bit higher and Gomez is out of position, it's a different story. That's a foul by Diego Gomez. Again, they just don't want to pick up and fight here. It's Ardagula pushing away Galaza, and it's getting very feisty out there.
It is. I'll tell you what, if I was Galaza there, I'd have been backpedaling very quickly with Merritt Demiral facing towards me. He really was not happy, the former Juventus man there, with the goal scorer. Very much saying, yo, you're going to move out the way, and he very quickly obliged as well. It is worth saying, Matthias Galaza, Demiral not messing about there.
He might have seen Ardagula and gone, I don't mind matching up to you, Demiral. No, I'll step back. No worries about that fella. As it is a good opportunity for another free kick, because they did get caught offside in a similar position last time. Kalanoglu with the right boot header. It's off the inside of the bar, off the post. It's not cleared away, not dealt with. Mulder backheels it into a dangerous area, cleared away by Kubas. The goalkeeper there, Hill, was all at sea, nothing he could do. Beautiful delivery, I believe it was Mulder's header. Great leap from the fullback. Watching it on the replay, everyone's on side. He gets a good header on it, and it comes off the bar, then onto the post, and they don't deal with it there. It's actually off the head of Mulder, then off the shoulder of Alonso, so almost swerves nearly into the back of the net, and that was almost 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know how he's not scored there. Mulder, he's not known for his goal scoring. It has to be said, 5 goals in his last 6 seasons for Fenerbahce and Sassuolo. So again, not exactly the highest scoring fullback in the world, but it's a brilliant header to come off the underside of the crossbar and then the post is so unfortunate. You can't get much closer than scoring there. And, well, it's just getting a little bit nervy for Paraguay now, with about, 15 minutes to go until half-time, if you take into account the expected 5 added on minutes. They are very much, I don't want to say, they're not very much holding on, but they're on the back foot, and it's Turkey who are now starting to flex their muscles.
You would feel, and I only say it because of momentum, if Turkey get a goal, they'd be favoured to possibly go get another lovely switch of play from right to left, finding Yildiz 1-on-1 against Almiron. Some support though. Kalioglu, can he find Yildiz once again? He does, cuts inside on his right boot, goes for a strike, it's sliced away. Gula back to Mulder, great tackle there from Galaza, had to get that one right, and Gomez will come away with the ball, pokes it forward, gets it back, it's very chaotic, sprays a ball to the left hand side. What a pass. Galaza's going to get on the end of it, end to end it is, plays it into Enciso, lovely few touches, goes for a strike, it's blocked away. Paraguay on the counter, they do look ever so good, but when they do come forward, it means that Turkey have a possibility to then counter. They've lost the ball though. Enciso down the right hand side to Cáceres, fishes one in, it's a strike, saved well by the keeper, and Ardagula just clears his lines. Yildiz is high up on the left hand side, and he does well to win a free kick. That might just bring a pause and a breath to this game. As you said, Luke, it's been such a breathless, fantastic game so far.
Yeah, it really has. And it's just back and forth, isn't it? I mean, Turkey, I think, are wanting VAR to have a look to see if there's a potential penalty shot for a challenge on Kenan Yildiz. Straight away, the Paraguay go down the other end. There's going to be a yellow card handed out here to somebody inside the Paraguay technical staff. I think it's one of the assistant coaches, Gustavo Alfaro, doing everything he can to plead with the officials to not yellow card one of his coaching staff. I'm not sure who it is that's warranted that yellow card. Was it maybe one of the players on the bench? We'll get confirmation of that in a moment or so. I'd like to see the replay of the challenge on Kenan Yildiz. He went down pretty certain he was deserving of a penalty inside the penalty area. but VAR clearly have waved that away, with Paraguay going down the other end and almost getting a goal themselves. Cáceres is certainly trying to prove you wrong this evening, Lewis. He's having a fantastic night and well, nearly made it 2 with an excellent strike on goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has a twin brother, because this looks like a different player to the one I saw when he played in Los Angeles. Left-hand side Yildiz, fizzes it into Artukoglu. Lovely first few touches. Guess who's there to win the ball? Cáceres, and he clears it away. Ball played long, and Enciso's going to chase it down. He's going to get there as well. Yuksuk does his best, but Enciso still with the ball. Picks out Gomez. He might go for a strike here. Mulder wins the ball.
Challenge.
What a tackle that is. Had to get that right. And it's back and forth once again. Atgun driving down the right hand side. Picks a ball up for Artukoglu. Gomez has a collision. Then does he stand on his face there on the replay? We'll have to watch. He goes down holding his face. That's one for the referee and the VAR team to have a look at. Gomez, we spoke about how feisty the Palmeiras centre back can be. That'll be interesting on a replay, Luke.
Yeah, it will be. I was going to quickly say this before we break down what has happened. Is Junior Alonso on the field? I don't think we've seen the Paraguay left back once. There's so much space in behind. So let's have a look. He catches him as he's running in behind. And then is there anything afterwards? Yeah, he goes to make the run. I mean, it's a little bit of a flail of an arm from Gustavo Gomez, but nothing too untoward on Artukoglu. I mean, I will also throw this out there as well. Vincenzo Montella doesn't appeal for it in the slightest, which makes me think there's nothing really there. I don't think they are going to get anything from this Turkey. We're just seeing a replay of the effort from Cáceres. He just doesn't quite get the bend on it. He needs to start it further out of the far post to get it bending back in. But it's a great strike from a fullback, put it that way. And I think, yeah, the referee has tidied everything up and has deemed nothing wrong with anything that's happened inside the penalty area, and it's going to continue. Artukoglu's got some words for the official on the near side. He's really not happy. The Galatasaray man, the Fenerbahce man, I should say, sorry. But yeah, he's going to have to spend some time on the sidelines. Really not happy, I think is probably the best way to put it.
No, this game just feels like it's at boiling point, doesn't it, between the two sides and the two benches. It has to be said. Lovely play by Gomez. He's driving forward, tries to play it down the line for Almiron. Kalioglu gets there inside the area to clear it away for a throw-in. Just over 40 minutes plays as Artukoglu is back on the field. And it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Well, here you go. Junior Alonso's got the throw-in here, Luke. So that's the first time I've seen a number 6 in this game. It's another long throw-in. It's headed away. It's a good header as well. It'll only fall though for Gustavo Gomez.
I just think with Cáceres defending so well over on the far side, I thought Alonso would have been a bit more visible, you know, a bit more defensive-minded. But we've just barely seen him at all. It seems like he keeps bombing forward, but just not getting involved in the attack and then leaving the space in behind.
It's almost, he's like, do I go forward? And then when he does, they lose the ball. So he goes, oh no, I've got to backtrack, and the space being left for the right side. As well, Turkey have been very left-hand side heavy, haven't they, with Yildiz as well. So a lot more defending for Cáceres and co to cope with. 41 minutes on the clock. Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. The Galaza goal inside 90 seconds gave the Paraguayans a 1-0 lead. We're not far off the 45 being played, but as Luke's already mentioned, probably looking at just less than 10 with stoppage time to go as well. Poor pass there from Mulder, and it's picked up now by Galaza. Pitter holds it up well, Mulder, then he just brings down the fullback. That'll be a cheap free kick that Paraguay have given away. As Luke spoke about earlier, Dark Arts definitely unsure by Paraguay. Gula tries to spray it out to the left-hand side for Yildiz. They've been trying to link up there, the two key men for Turkey this evening. Back it goes to defender. Now Turkey looking again, they've had a lot of possession, well over 80%. That great strike, 25-30 yards out, low-driven effort from Galaza, the difference maker. He's the only player on a yellow card as well. Shockingly, it has to be, so with how fast this game has been. Gula fizzes the ball into the feet there of Yildiz, trying to get him more involved in the game. So a bit too much on it from the Real Madrid man. It's now into the arms of Orlando Hill, the Paraguayan goalkeeper. And at the moment, Paraguay, do you think Turkey will just have, it's that much of an onslaught that they've just not got to score, but they will create one big chance? 7 attempts 4 for Turkey over Paraguay. But Paraguay had 2 shots on goal. Of course, Turkey had that header off the underside of the bar and then the post. But is it just that much pressure that maybe Paraguay will fold at one moment?
It's tricky. I mean, Australia didn't fold, and if you look at the stats from that game, 2 big chances, 30 shots on goal, 8 saves made by the Aussie goalkeeper Patrick Beach. They won the XG back, but they lost by 2-0. So it's a bit like, I've got no reason to think that Paraguay can't hold on in this game. I really don't, and that's the tricky thing, isn't it? It's a case of actually if they couldn't do it against Australia, I have no reason to think that they will be able to do it against Paraguay.
I know it's as cliche as it's going to come, but the next goal, so vital. Poor pass out there from the keeper. Turkey, the space, that gone too much time and 2 heavy touches. He could have played it quickly into Yildiz. It's one back in the middle. I mean, what a game this really has been. Of course, there's been so many games played over the last just over a week, but I'd have to say, concerning maybe hype going into this, it seems well over-delivering. It has to be said. Almiron in the middle, out to Alonso on the left-hand side, and maybe now Paraguay are just thinking, right, let's just get into half-time. Let's reset, if you will. Let's take a breather for 15 minutes. Battle in the air for the ball. Calhanoglu comes away with it, but fouls his in midfielder Andres Cubas. He's gone under the radar, has Cubas intensely just been battling and winning the ball. Paraguay take it quickly, and Ciso driving forward. We know he loves a strike outside goal. Lovely quick feet. He's still going. He opens it up on the right hand side of the penalty box. Floats it back in. Gomez was flying in there. Almiron keeps it alive. Peters goes for the acrobatic strike. Cubas will bring his man down. Free kick there. And Enciso, did he just wait too long for that chance to come?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's waiting for that perfect opportunity, similar to Vinicius Jr. in the earlier game, waiting for the space to open up. I think at some point you've just got to pull the trigger, test the goalkeeper, and on that occasion he takes too long, and straight away Turkey down the other end of the field with Calhanoglu.
Challenge right forward. Calhanoglu with the strike at goal, blocked it well away. There is a Paraguayan player down. I do believe it is Pitter. And Turkey are not happy at all with it. Frustration starting to just peak and boil over, and is pushing and shoving. Paraguayan players are trying to just say, right, my teammate needs some medical attention. Turkey not happy about it all, and it's just been building and building to this.
I love this football match. I really do. This is brilliant. I mean, the referee, I think, has refereed this brilliantly, and I'm not sure what more he could have done to stop this. I mean, I really don't think there's a huge amount wrong here with this Isidro Peter. I'll be brutally honest, and I think fair enough the Turkish team and management being frustrated at that decision, but you can't allow frustration to take over. You have to continue what you're doing. You have to concentrate, and you've got to keep playing your football. And I think that's the problem. They're letting their emotions get ahead of them, and it's stopping them from playing the football they want to be able to play. As I'm just trying to work out what's going on here. There's a lot of finger wagging going on. Someone's not happy on this near side. Is there something going on in the crowd? Maybe I can't work out what's going on here. I think Mulder and Ardagula are trying to have a word with the referee about something. They're asking for VAR. What on earth is going on now? I'm just, oh dearie me, this is, Turkey aren't happy with something. Whether they think something's been said or whether, something's happened off the ball, I'm not sure. But very quickly, so there were a couple of plays that were very incensed, and I think VAR is indeed having a look at it. But we've got no idea what. We have absolutely no idea what.
The only thing at first is the referee, I thought, said to Pitter, as the referee's going, we'll have a look in a moment. It's unofficial, independent, off-tube studio commentary. So myself and Luke are versed to hear everything. We're reacting just to what we see. So we will see a replay in a second. So the referee, Ivan Barton, has thrown up the sign. He's off to the monitor. VAR review for a red card. So off the screen, Mulder's involved with Almiron. Almiron says something to Mulder with his hand over his face. Mulder goes to the referee saying he said whatever he said.
Well, we're going to have no idea what's happened here then. I feel for the referee here. What's he supposed to do? In fact, actually, I tell you what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to send him off. Was this not one of the rules that they've said coming into this one? It was. This is what one of the rules they said going into the World Cup. You cover your mouth and say something, it's a straight red card. I'd completely forgotten that was the case. And I reckon Miguel Almiron's forgotten that's the case as well. We'll obviously never know what's been said, but whatever Miguel Almiron said to Mert Mulder has clearly incensed the Fenerbahce fullback to the point where he's raised it to the linesman. I think the linesman's then obviously said something to VAR because it almost looked like Turkey had convinced the referee to go have a look at VAR. Almiron's been sent off. This game had this in it. You could sense a red card was coming, but not for that. And Miguel Almiron's been sent off, and I don't think he can have too many complaints. They know the rules. It's a bit like in the Premier League when players were complaining about getting sent off for pulling hair. You know the rules. That's what you've been told. It's pretty easy to avoid doing that, in my opinion.
You spot on that. And I think what you said about the rules of if you cover your mouth and say something, it's an instant red card. I think Mulder's saying a bit of both, saying, well, he just said this, but also he covered his mouth. That's got to be a red card. So Paraguay, they've got defending to do here. Alonso with the header away. By the way, there was 6 minutes of added time. We are into 49 minutes on the clock. There was probably 3 minutes at least of stoppage time there. So just to try and make things of this, Pitta was fouled. It went down and Turkey went absolutely ballistic with everything. I do believe that Pitta then was forced to go off but didn't go off. As that was
he didn't need to because he didn't receive any treatment.
That's what he was trying to say, that wasn't it? But the referee did keep pointing to go off and he was saying, well, no one treated me, I am back up. As that was happening off of our pictures, Mulder and Almiron were having words with each other. Almiron puts his hand over his mouth. Again, as Luke said, we're never going to know what he said. But Mulder, I think, was, again, maybe saying he did say this, but he was more saying to the linesman, he's just put his hand over his face and said something to me. That's a red card. Referee went to have a VAR review. So now Paraguay, yes, are 1-0 up. They've had backs up against the wall. They've had a great defensive display so far. But now they're down to 10 men, so we'll have to see how it goes from here. We've probably got maybe another couple of minutes of stoppage time at the minimum. Yildiz, that's a poor pass into the box, intercepted by Enciso. Yildiz wins it back and he's still going. Pokes it forward for Goulet. Out to Kalanoglu. 1-2. Goulet over the top for Hakan Kalanoglu. It won't fall for him. Goulet tries to head it back into a dangerous area. Chuck was going to go for a strike at goal there. He might set himself up. He does for a curling effort. Just inches over the top of the bar. As I say, we're just about to hit 6 minutes of stoppage time. I would say at least another 2 minutes.
I would say maybe even 3.
So we've still got a couple of minutes to go at half time. But Paraguay, you've built up so much stuff. And as you said, I could have seen a red card coming for a silly tackle, stuff boiling over, pushing and shoving. But that's quite poor from Almiron to put your side in that position.
It's just not needed, is it? I'm sceptical of a few of the new rules implemented by FIFA coming into this World Cup. VAR intervening in corners and throw-ins being only 8 seconds and certain things, players haven't taken a minute off the side of the pitch if they've received treatment, various things that I do like. A red card for covering your mouth, I think, is the correct decision. And you know what? I really hope that Miguel Almiron has not said anything offensive in that sense. I'll break off because Paraguay are back on the attack. Oh, dearie me. He's got that wrong there, Galaza. He's just tried to chip that one into the penalty area and it's miscued off his toe out of play for a goal kick. No, I really hope Miguel Almiron has not said anything to Mert Mulder because we haven't got a place for that in the game. Having said that, why would you cover your mouth? Why would you cover your mouth if you're not saying anything untoward? So I'm unfortunately, I do think it. If it does come out, we are going to find out that Miguel Almiron has got himself into needless trouble. But the players will have had it lined out to them that these are the new rules that we're implementing. Don't do it. all suffer the consequences.
And Paraguay and Miguel Almiron are the ones who have suffered the consequences because of that. We've played an extra 2 minutes so far. Ball into the box. Yield easily falls for Actor Cogler. Will be a throw-in. So realistically, we've played a 6 minutes of stoppage time, close to an extra 2. So to a degree, it's all eyes on the referee of when he just kind of sees fit. Ardagula into the box. Yildiz strike goes wide. Did it take a deflection or no? That'll be the question. But the Paraguayan boss Gustavo Faro said, "We've played 6 minutes. Look at the stoppage time." Well, you got to think we took a lot of pause for sorting that red card out. No, it just bobbles off the surface. It doesn't come off of Gomez. What a first half this has been. Even if it's half as good in the second half, I think we're in for a great second 45 minutes. Goal kick, and still the referee is letting the game go on. I could see, of course, Paraguay maybe a few substitutions at half time, and maybe just trying to see half time out at 1-0 down to 10 men, maybe bringing I know Almiron's a midfielder, not a defender, but maybe taking a pitter off and bringing a more midfielder on to get there more legs in the middle, if you will. Atgun coming forward. Kalanoglu. It's going to be most of this. A lot of Turkey attack. Strike outside the area comes in, blocked away by Kubas. Will be another throw-in on the left-hand side, and I can imagine for the second 45, ball is swung into the box, headed away by Gomez. This is a lot what you will see. The ball poked back into the penalty box. Goalkeeper Hill comes out, boots it away, and we are just probably seconds away from half-time being blown. What a first half it has been. Paraguay took the lead very early on. Ardagula looks to swing it quickly forward. Looking for Yildiz. It's headed to the Juventus man from Yüksek. Back to Yildiz. Kalanoglu, he loves a strike at goal. It opens up for him. He goes for it. Headed away by Gustavo Gomez, who goes straight down. That's going to be a real sore one. Yes, he headed it, but my word, Kalanoglu got some power behind that. From one skipper's right boot to the head of the other, and that might be a pause for play. But the second half, it's got a lot to live up to if it gets close to the first half. Yeah, it certainly does. Look, I don't think it'll be anywhere near as fast paced. I'm not sure we'll see too many counter-attacks from Paraguay. I think we'll just see a lot of them holding on to being down to 10 men. I mean, they're desperate for this half-time whistle. Gustavo Alfaro saying to the fourth official, just let my side get in. Let me change something. He's desperate to go in with this lead. Chip ball into the box, looking towards Yildiz. Is headed away and out of play for a thrown over on the far side. I mean, we are now really edging towards maybe we're adding too much time on at the end of this first half, but still Turkey come forward. Ardagula on the right hand side. Demirel is basically playing as a striker. Now they've lost that defensive need realistically with the red card for Almiron. He wins it well, does Galazza on the left hand side. Wins a throw-in for his side. All eyes on the referee. Yes, he has a blown for half time. What a first 45 minutes that was. Paraguay took the lead for a great strike from Matías Galazza. 90 seconds in, the defended ever so well, but going into the second half, they will be down to 10 men after Miguel Almiron had his hands over his face and said something. Instant red card. Tensions is still boiling over going into half time. Looking forward to the second half, but after 45 minutes in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Paraguay 1, Turkey 0. Fantastic first half of football, which was capped off by a fantastic strike by Matías Galazza inside a minute. A brilliant effort from the Atlanta United man from distance, fired into the bottom corner, and he gave his side an early lead. From there on, it's been like a basketball match, fast-paced and certainly feisty, leading to a red card right at the end of the first half for Miguel Almiron, talking underneath his shirt, leading to a direct red card. But at half-time, Paraguay lead by a goal to 0.
Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron. Sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. Inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in a first half that was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, which Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galaza. inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Half-time in San Francisco, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Fantastic first half of football, with Paraguay got it started early on thanks to a brilliant strike from Matias Galarza inside 2 minutes from range, firing into the bottom corner brilliantly to give Paraguay an early lead. From there on in, it was end-to-end like a basketball match, incredibly feisty in the first half. That was capped off with a red card for Miguel Almiron, sent off thanks to FIFA's new rule for talking underneath his shirt, and rightly so, given the straight red card. At half-time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. It's very warm. Welcome back to this independent off-tube studio-based commentary of this World Cup group stage match at Levi Stadium between Turkey and Paraguay. The two sides went in at half-time with Turkey trailing by a goal to nil courtesy of an absolute belter early on from Matías Galaza, which ultimately has seen, currently as things stand, Paraguay sit third in Group D. It's myself, Luke Ashurst, alongside me, Lewis Raftery, to take you through the rest of the 90 minutes. And what a first half of football we had, Lewis. Two changes made at half-time, one for each team to try and, I don't know, solve their problems going into the second half. For Paraguay, their problem is they're down to 10. For Turkey, their problem is they can't create a clear chance on goal.
No, they can't, and it'll be a lot of defending. We've already spoke about that in the latter stages of the first half. For Paraguay, Yilmaz coming on. He's not an out-and-out striker, but he does bring height. He's 6'1", so he does bring a lot of height. As a strike outside the area comes in, it's straight at the goalkeeper. Hilda made a mess of that. Outside the area from Demiral, not expecting that one. He just runs onto it, no one closes him down. And look, because Paraguay are so far back, it could be that it opens up for Demiral might score, I'm not saying that, but maybe an Arda Güler gets a chance from 30 yards out. Calhanoglu, we've seen him score time and time again for both the Milan sides and Bayer Leverkusen before. So Yilmaz coming on adds height and presence, but still they're missing that out-and-out striker we spoke about in the first half.
Yeah, certainly are. It's it's a tricky one for Turkey. They just don't really have that player at the moment, unfortunately. But nonetheless, that's one of the changes made, as Lewis has just mentioned. Yilmaz on, Aktakoglu off. For Paraguay, it's Damian Bobadilla on, and it's Pitter who's off. That's not a like-for-like change. Bobadilla, a centre midfielder, will drop in to try and add the bodies up. As straight away, Turkey on the front foot. Yilmaz trying to get the ball into the box. Has been blocked well by Junior Alonso over on the far side, and the first corner of the second half to be taken by Turkey. And Arda Güler will float this one in with his left boot, you'd imagine, over on the far side. An in-swinger. It's towards the near post, headed away easily by Diego Gomez as the first man straight out of plate for a throw-in over on the far side. I'll run you through the lineups in a moment or so. Turkey, though, continuing on the front foot. Ball sent towards Yilmaz at the back post. Headed away initially, but the chance still there. Here's Yildiz. Kenan Yildiz towards the near post. Side netting only. Out of play for a goal kick. Now, both lineups for Turkey. Çakır in goal. Back for Kadioglu, Badakci, Demiral and Mulder. Back to midfield to, I should say, Çalhanoğlu and Yüksek, with Yildiz, Güler and Akgun supporting Yilmaz through the middle. As for Paraguay, it's Gil in goal. A back four of Cáceres, Gomez, Alderete and Alonso. Midfield four of Gomez, Kubas, Galaza and the substitute Bobadilla, with Enciso playing up top on his own. You might be thinking that's only 10 players. As I've said, that is because of the straight red card given to Miguel Almiron for talking under his shirt, or under his hand I should say, sorry. One of the new rules that FIFA has implemented coming into this World Cup has finally been used. Well, it's Miguel Almiron on the receiving end of it. There's only 5 minutes gone in the second half. Paraguay, of course, as you'd expect, have done a lot of defending, but have got a chance to come forward now. Cáceres, long throw it into the penalty area, cleared away well by Turkey. And then gathered over on the far side by Alonso, trying to get down the line. He's been challenged well in the end by Akgun, and a throw-in one for Turkey, which is taken quickly by Mulder, who is in fact Austrian-born. Mulder, born in Vienna, represented Rapid Vienna for a few years before moving back to, moving back to Turkey, moving to Turkey, the birthplace of his parents, which is why he represents them on the international stage. That's the ball towards Kadioglu. Miscontrolled though by the Brighton fullback, and out of play for a throw-in. Disappointing there from the fullback. Expected better from him. Speaking of of Austria. They got off to a pretty decent start, didn't they, in their opening game? Against Jordan, who they picked up pretty decent, pretty comfortable victory against in the end. Their next game against Argentina will be a big one. They'll be hoping they can cause a bit of an upset in that one. Turkey will be hoping they can avoid an upset in this one as they come forward. Now that's a great ball in from the centre half, but actually looking towards Yilmaz. Cut out though really quite well by Omar Alderete. And Turkey are forced all the way back to their goalkeeper Çakir. But the second half has gone how we expected, although Turkey, I'll be honest, are not showing enough quality in my eyes to really penetrate this Paraguay backline. I'll just to say that they've got a chance now with Chanaloglu tries to cross the ball into the box. Again, easily blocked, and Paraguay can come away with the ball once more. It's happened too many times, this from Turkey, it really has.
I mean, what they did at the back end of the first half that I really liked, because look, you're down to 10 men of Paraguay, is Demiral almost went up top as a striker, didn't he, to add more threat in the box from crosses. For me, there is no reason why you can't just drop Yüksek into basically being a centre-back with one of the central defenders to keep that shape, push Bardaki or Demiral into the box. Why are you two centre-backs when you're trying to put crosses into the box, who would be very, very beneficial to be in the box for crosses? Why are they just sat there on the halfway line? Just pick one of them, or swap, alternate, I don't mind. But Demiral then, at the back of the first half, he offered a lot of problems, didn't he, when crosses came into the box. He really helps out. I never understand why you'd have two centre-backs who are pushing over 6 foot, not in the box when you have one less man to mark. It's a bit strange from Turkey.
Yeah, it is a little bit, it has to be said. As we've said time and time again during the first half, this is a must-win game for both these two sides. Of course, falling to defeat in that first game. The Paraguay that was thumped by the USA. Turkey lost 2-0 to Australia. It is imperative that, well, for each of their own progressions into the round of 32, it is imperative that they win. Right now, Paraguay doing the business. Turkey need at least 2 goals. To be honest with you, they probably could do with winning by more than just the 2 for the goal difference sake. As here it is on the left-hand side now with Kenan Yildiz. Opens up the space nicely. Ball towards the edge of the box where Chanaloglu was waiting. Is hiked up into the air by Bobadilla and further cleared away in the end by Kubas. And Siso will then chase, putting Bardakci under a bit of pressure. He's forced to nod that out of play for a throw-in on the near side, and Paraguay will take their time stepping forward as they have themselves a throw-in deep inside Turkish territory. They're in absolutely no rush to take these throws, as you can imagine. You can't really blame them for not being in a hurry. What's that going to be given? A throw away at Turkey? Yes, it is. It was a loose touch there from the goal scorer, Galaza. And again, Turkey will look to try and play out from the back. Here's Ardagula, far side. Steps towards halfway. Ball played down the line now for Yunus Akgun. Akgun down the line looking for Yilmaz, the substitute. Holds off his man well, does he? No, referee says free kick against the Turkish forward. And that will be a foul. And the decision goes the way of Paraguay. Maybe a little bit surprising, I'll be honest. Let's have a look. No, the Galatasaray man put the hands in the back of Omar Alderete. He can have no complaints.
No, he can't. It's just silly from the forward, isn't it, as well? The one thing I will say is it is a foul. The referee gets it right. I think it's pretty poor that the linesman doesn't spot it as well. I know the referee can see the hand in the back, but the linesman does keep his flag down. So, again, maybe the referee has seen that and think that's a bit more beneficial. But usually you see in synergy, don't you? The linesman flag goes up and the referee gives the decision off his own accord as well. And look at the Paraguay. As soon as Alderete felt that touch in the back, he'll go, thank you, I'll go down and win a free kick. But once again, Turkey flying forward. Yeah, they are flying forward. Kenan Yildiz once again trying to get involved down the near side. Cuts in narrow before laying off to Chanaloglu. Here's Ardagula. Back to Chanaloglu once again. He thought about floating the ball into the box. Instead, we'll move it square to Demiral. Demiral down the far side feeds Müller. Was Müller fouled? Referee says no. And now here's a chance for Paraguay. It's a 2-on-2 with bodies streaming back for Turkey. And Siso 1-on-1 trying to create the space up against Bardakci. He's challenged brilliantly
by the Galatasaray man. And now here comes Turkey back on the attack. Here's Mulder driving through midfield. Feeds out to Gula. Gula, chip ball looking towards Kenan Yildiz. Headed away well by Cáceres into midfield. Diego Gomez will gather, trying to win the foul. Doesn't get the decision his way. Turkey will come forward once again. Here it is now with Yüksek into Kadioglu. Now Kenan Yildiz. Yildiz wants it on his right boot. Will feed the overlapping run of Kadioglu. Tries to play it back into Yildiz. It's a poor pass, easily defended, and out of play for a throw on the near side. That's more like the first half from these two.
It was, and I think that's the thing that maybe Paraguay, I said going into that, you won't see a counter-attack. Look, if he offers it up like that, you will see the counter-attacks, won't you?
Yeah.
And it was a 2v2 driving forward, but actually had to get that right, he did. But here comes Turkey. It's going to be an onslaught in the second half.
Yeah, it feels like that's going to be the way. Kadioglu into Yildiz. Midfield now for Çalhanoğlu. Back out now to but actually with a great ball again. What a brilliant cross into the box that is from Galatasaray skipper. Brilliant left-footed ball in from the centre half, who's shown more quality with his left boot than I'd argue anybody else in the Turkey shirt has this evening. That's a fantastic cross into the box. More of that, and you feel it's only a matter of time before Turkey get themselves an equaliser.
It's a perfect delivery, and that's not the first time he's got forward and put a ball into the box, is it? He drove forward a handful of times in the first half as well, and look, because Paraguay is sitting back and have that less man, he can kind of get further forward. Unfortunately, again, it's Yüksek that's there, isn't it? You feel maybe if Yilmaz is on the end of it, that might be a different story, or maybe there's someone at the back sticks trying to get on the end of it, but that's a great ball, and that's the worrying signs for Paraguay. If Turkey do get one, it could be a long afternoon and evening for Paraguay.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Kenan Yildiz, near side, cuts in on his right boot. Kadioglu trying to chip a ball in. Çalhanoğlu, was he offside? Strike comes in over the crossbar, and I think what's the linesman given here? I don't think the flag has gone up for offside. I think he's given a goal kick in the end. Great run from Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Decent ball to him as well by Ferdi Kadioglu. And on this occasion, I think he's put off there by the challenge from Cáceres from behind. And a right-footed effort, he's miscued comfortably over the crossbar.
Yeah, he just slices it a little bit, gets really underneath it, doesn't it? Look, as well, I mean, I know we've seen it throughout the entire tournament. We covered the Brazil-Haiti game. They were 3-0 down and they were dancing and celebrating with the Haiti supporters. Those Turkey fans in San Francisco this evening at the stadium, they're still supporting the side, they're still bouncing. I can assume it's maybe even the Paraguay fans that are a bit more biting the nails, because they are wondering that they're so close, aren't they, to getting 3 points, but oh so far to a degree. But Turkey, they just need that little bit of quality in the final third to drop. They haven't got it so far, but they've got the players out there to do so. A bit of magic from a Gula, a Yildiz. I feel on that left-hand side, he is quite two-footed, but this evening he's been also right-footed. He never wants to go down the byline on his left, and it's making the defending for Cáceres a little bit easier to read.
Yeah, absolutely. It's he's had a pretty good game so far, hasn't he? The fullback, Dinamo Moscow fullback. Just as I say that, strike comes in. Oh, that's a spill for the goalkeeper from the strike from distance. Still the chances there as he's out of position. Oh, brilliant defending in the end from Alderete and Gustavo Gomez. The strike came in from distance from Merida Demiral once again. This time Orlando Hill, hardly convincing. He's been caught as he's ended up gathering the ball. I mean, does it take a bit of deflection? It does from Omar Alderete. He makes things harder for his goalkeeper. But that's the last-ditch defending you want to see from your centre-half. Ultimately, he bails his goalkeeper out after the error. And, well, eventually he's able to hold on to the ball. Huge moment in this one, though, and very, very nervy.
I mean, and again, it's Demiral, as you say, it's his second strike coming in, and it's a great strike as well. I think the key part it's saying, but as you say, Alderete does not help his goalkeeper. Double change from Yüksek and Akgun are off. Uzun and Hull are on as well. So positive changes, you'd have to say, of course, coming up from Turkey. But again, it's Demiral, give him space. He's going to go for a strike. He's already proved it once. He will do it again, quite obviously. So it's one of them, isn't it? Because it's a good strike, yes, takes a deflection, so it changes the outcome really of where the strike would have gone. But if you were to say, right, 30 yards out, Demiral's on the ball, let him have a shot. If that's an Arda Güler or a Hakan Çalhanoğlu, they will close him down. So that's the difference. But if that goes in, it's a mistake from Paraguay with a block, and then Turkey have all the momentum in the world. Here comes Enciso.
Yeah, Enciso driving into the penalty. Oh, big opportunity! Huge opportunity for Julio Enciso inside the penalty area. Skipped away from a couple on his left boot. Should have found the back of the net. Massive opportunity for the Strasbourg midfielder. And it should really, I think, be 2-0. Big opportunity. Double change made by Turkey, by the way. Can Uzun comes on for Yüksek in midfield, and Deniz Gül replaces Yunus Akgun. So you'd assume that's going to see Yilmaz, I think, shuffle out wide, and Gül's going to go through the middle. They had to change something, Turkey, to try and get some more bodies forward. They've gone for it.
They have, and the very young players, of course. Who's in the Frankfurt midfielder? He's always been very good. Handful of times I've seen him in the Champions League this past year. He's full of potential. Again, we've all coming on. Great play down the right from Yilmaz. Ball into the box. It's headed away. But you can't give. You know what? You've got to say to Vincenzo Montella and his side and his coaching staff. They are going for it. They've got to. But credit to them that they are.
Yeah, I mean, they've not waited. They have rolled the dice early on. 3 changes inside an hour. They needed to change something, as we've said. They now just need to crack the nut and hope that the players on the field can do the business. Yildiz, ball into the box. There's a chance. Deniz Gül with it. His first touch since coming on. There's a chance to equalise for his country. And he probably should have done. Free header inside the penalty area. First time we've seen Yildiz with a bit of space inside the box. Does brilliantly well to shuffle it on into his left boot. It's got to be 1-1. It has to be 1-1.
He gets his jump ball wrong. Gets underneath it, doesn't he? He needs to time that right. But once again, Yildiz, here he comes.
Yeah, Yildiz down the left-hand side. Goes on his own this time. Can't wrap his right boot around it. And it's comfortably wide of the post. Another big opportunity squandered by the Turkish. Brilliant run from Kenan Yildiz. I almost think he wants somebody to tap that in at the far post. It's one of those where you put it in the area. I mean, chances now down at both ends. We're seeing the replay of Julio Enciso's effort. He's on the stretch, so he can't wrap his foot around it. Otherwise, that is 2-0.
He almost pokes it, doesn't it? Because, as you say, he's stretching for it. If that's a well-wrapped left-footed effort, I think, as you're right, it's 2-0. It's in the back of the net, but the game's really coming to life. Turkey, as you're right, for part, they're just turning the screw a bit. They're really finding a bit of rhythm now, aren't they? And going back to that whole chance, that's going to be a foul, I believe, from Uzun, or at least it's going to be stopped for a moment as the referee straight over, and a yellow card for Vincenzo Montella. He was absolutely furious with that decision. But you're right, it was one of them though where Yildiz went for the first time in a while on the left hand side, lovely ball into the box. That then opened it on his right. The next time he ran forward, just watching it back, it's Gomez who goes down. I mean, he goes down as if he's been maybe stood on, but he's not stood on at all. So, and to be fair, Montella can see it from he's straight in front of it, so I can understand his furiousness, but he needs to calm down in these situations. But yeah, that Delegate's full chance. He just gets his jump ball wrong, doesn't he? Then he gets underneath it, and it kind of just floats into the keeper's arms.
Yeah, I'll be honest. They've tried to eliminate the time wasting when players going down by saying if you receive treatment, you have to go off for a minute. The problem is his players now just refusing treatment, so it's still taking just as long. Either way, we are now back underway. Lovely bit of skill from Yilmaz over on the far side. Tries to skip the ball into the box. It's been blocked well and out of play for a corner over on the far side. Diego Gomez has been told he's got to take a minute off, even without receiving treatment. That is quite comical, I have to say. Either way, play continues now. Corner taken short. Tackle won. And I think a foul there given against the man chanting Galaza, and that'll be a free kick for Paraguay. It's really baffling that he sent Diego Gomez off to go spend a minute off on the sideline. That's only supposed to be if you receive treatment and the foul hasn't warranted a yellow card. So I'm not entirely sure why he's had to wait a minute. Although having said that, he suggested he needs to come off.
Yeah, that'll be. And now Paraguay will probably be So you're down to 9 men now because Gomez is off the field. You'll be scrambling because we need to get someone on, but they may not be prepared, or I wasn't preparing for you to come off. Turkey, this is where cynically you've got to take advantage.
Yeah, you really do. He's been brought back on now, Diego Gomez. He's been the minute. I mean, he seems to be moving okay, but he did gesture to the bench that he wants bringing off. Decent bit of skill on this near side now for Uzan, trying to create the space. He wants to throw in. Good bit of play there from the Eintracht Frankfurt man as the throw-in is taken quickly by Kadiogu. Here it is with Badachi. Badachi will lay it off to Uzan once again. Across now for Demiral. He winds up for a strike from distance. This has to stop from Merid Demiral. That's the worst of the lot. That's gone 50 yards into the crowd. He's got to stop with these strikes from distance because they're not helping Turkey.
No, the first two, I mean, there was on target. The second one was because of the block. It makes it look a little bit better. As Gomez has gone down again, as you rightfully said, he was, as he went off, I think he almost said, look, I need to come off. I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if he has pulled something. Again, I don't want to say that he's doing it for a reason. Is he trying to play up by saying, look, I need to come off, that's why it's all this and that. You can see that he's trying to get back. Again, it's as you spoke about, as he's only to come off with the received treatment. They're trying to almost get it to where the officials are about to come on, then they stand back up. So it's all the mind games and the dark arts, a lot of complaining. They're asking for the substitution now.
Well, the referee was asking for a stretcher there a moment ago, which I don't really understand. They're making the change. They have a change that they can make. I don't really know why this has caused as much confusion as it has, but Diego Gomez is going to go off. He looks quite upset, I'll be honest. I don't know whether he knows that means he's not going to be available for the game against Australia. We'll, of course, have to wait and see, but he's brought off, and it's the number 2, Gustavo Velasquez, who comes on to replace him. Plays his football for Cerro Porteño in his home country of Paraguay. So on he comes to replace Diego Gomez, and I think it's safe to assume that it's a defensive player. It's a defensive change, as that surely got to be a yellow card. The referee had given a goal kick. It wasn't a corner. I don't know why the Turkish players think it was a corner. I don't know who it was, but he just ran up to the ball after the goalkeeper placed it and booted it away. This game is brilliant. It's just chaos from start to finish.
Chaos, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, whatever you want to give it. It's been absolutely fantastic, bonkers, hasn't it, this game so far? And at the second half, because of the red card and how Paraguay were playing from getting the goal very early on, I think the quality of plays dropped, but my word, the chaos is just ensued.
It's continued, and it's been brilliant from start to finish of the 90 minutes. It has to be said, we're now going to have a brief stoppage because of the hydration break. I'm not going to do what most commentators have done and complain about the hydration break, because I actually don't have a problem with them. I think, could they have been organised a little bit better? Yes, potentially, but you've got those people who say, well, it's only 20 degrees, you don't need a hydration break. What are they going to do when it gets to match week 3? And you've got one game where they're having a hydration break because it's 35 degrees, and one game where they're not. All of a sudden you will end up with instances where with 15 minutes left to go, teams know what they need to do to get through, and we'll just pass it around the back 50 minutes. So you can't have it. You also can't have it where some teams are getting a break and a chance to speak to coaches and other teams aren't. So I don't have a problem with it in the slightest. It's just one of those things where I think it does need a little bit of refining, but I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people are making out. And I really do hope that this isn't something that is sort of, used to stain what has been, I think, a fantastic World Cup so far, even with all the problems, the logistical problems that have been caused by visas so far. As we're just seeing replays of some of the highlights in this second half. Chaos that ensued inside the penalty area after that long-range effort from Merid Demiral. And I feel like he thinks that's given him the license to continue going for them, when realistically that chance has come about because of the deflection from Omar Alderete, who since making that block has struggled a little bit to really move as well. I mean, that chance for Gül after the cross from Yildiz, he doesn't get off the ground at all when he really ought to be challenging inside the penalty area. I mean, outside of that though, outside of those two chances, you look at it and go, Turkey just really haven't created a huge amount, which I didn't think the creation would be a problem given the players they've got on the pitch. Çalhanoğlu, Yildiz, Gula. That shouldn't be the problem. Kadioglu as well, another one in there. It's the finishing that I thought would be an issue, but it really hasn't been the case. It looks as though another change is being readied on this near side. Let's just wait to see who it is. Is that Kadioglu that's going off? Indeed it is. So off goes the Brighton man. I'm just trying to have a look to see if I can guess who it is that's coming on. Orkun Kukçu maybe, Salih Özcan. Two creative players, although not wide players. Zeki Çelik maybe to offer a little bit of pace out wide. Still waiting for confirmation. We didn't get a good view of the board, but Kadioglu's not returned. It's Eren El Mali, the number 13. I'm just trying to. Yeah, the Galatasaray man, on he comes, who is a bit of a utility player for the Istanbul side. But on he comes El Mali to replace Kadioglu, and while there's a change being made by Turkey, we'll also make a change in commentary as well, because we're past the third quarter mark in this one. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. I'm going to hand it over to Lewis to take us through to full time.
Thank you very much, Luke. Yeah, we've been treated, haven't we? Although we're up very, very well. You might be, a lot of people joining us might be just waking up. We've been up through the night, of course, but we've been treated to a great game here. And already, well, my word, Eren El Mali, involved in his first piece of play, picks up a yellow card.
That is brilliant.
He goes up for the header, I believe, with Cáceres, and the Paraguayan fullback is on the deck. We didn't see him because the broadcaster didn't cut back.
Oh yeah, that's a yellow card.
Cáceres goes up, and El Mali just kind of with his left shoulder gets on the, if you will, the tailbone area to push Cáceres a little bit further up. It is really dangerous playing. Yeah. For Cáceres, it's quite lucky he kind of only lands on his backside. That could have been much worse. And well, Kadioglu came off.
Touched the ball.
Yes, you're correct. Hasn't touched the ball. Technically on the pitch for probably from the referee blowing his whistle, less than 30 seconds, and he gives away the free kick and a yellow card. More importantly, that free kick as well. It's a dangerous one. Paraguay could double their lead. It is Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. 71.5 minutes on the clock in San Francisco. And Enciso with the delivery. It's run into the back six. Alderete nods it back into a decent area. Turkey will clear their line. That's a poor header from Cáceres, and now is a counter-attack on. Great interception and tackle from Enciso. And Galatasaray, that's a great play as well. But El Mali reads it well, and now he's driving forward. Maybe a bit to prove with that early yellow card. And if he proves with passing like that, he'll prove to be a great substitution. Yilmaz going for a strike at goal. Now he has more rights to go for an effort, but I don't know if with Demiral getting one or two strikes off, everyone's now going, oh, well, if it opens up for me, I can go for goal. I'll
be honest, Lewis, I don't think he has any right to shoot from there. I think that's absolutely ridiculous from Burak Yilmaz. Just hold the ball up, or play the run of Mulder, or swing the ball in. Anything but shoot from 25 yards out with 3 Paraguayan defenders in front of you. I don't know what he's thinking. I really don't. Maybe he thinks he can make himself the hero. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is... I'm almost getting the feeling that once again Turkey come into a major tournament with lots of promise, lots of hope, and we're just not seeing any of it when it matters. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still have 15 minutes left to go in this one. They have to score at least 2 goals, otherwise they've got no chance of going through. You know, America have looked way better in their 2 games than Turkey have. So they need to win in this game. They really, really do. And right now they look like they're going to fall to defeat.
Yilmaz on the right hand side swings one. It's a deep cross, easily though dealt with in the area by Cáceres. Ball forward, it's nodded on by Galaza. He's almost him and Enciso almost a 2 up top, if you will. Everyone else behind the ball. It's only back to the keeper though, and now forward Turkey come once again. And they find a ball into the box. That one's poor, but the keeper has to deal with it. Yilmaz will keep the attack alive. Ball into the box. It's not a bad one. Just what for kindly. Çalhanoğlu, that's a poor touch. And then is that a foul by the skipper? No, it isn't. Referee says that's all right. Gula swings it out too. Yilmaz on the right-hand side. Alonso deals with it. Good defensive play there from Gula. Just knocks it out of play off of the attacking Galaza. Turkey have it all to do. Just saw the stat popping up there just for confirmation. Shots 20, only 4 on target for Turkey. That's a poor return, you'd have to say, but don't take anything away from Paraguay and their defensive display as well. Demiral, this time he doesn't go for a shot. He plays it out to the right-hand side. Mulder, overlapping run from Yilmaz. Fizzes one into the box and it's cleared away off of the defender's backside and out for a corner. As Luke rightfully pointed out, looking at Group D, USA, they're qualified 2 wins out of 2. Impressive wins as well. Demolished Paraguay. Of course, Australia as well are in second place on 3 points. Paraguay are in third due to this deficient goal difference. Corner comes in, the header goes wide of the mark, but it might have taken a deflection, apologies, as referee Ivan Barton does give another corner. So as Luke said, Turkey are fighting and battling for their World Cup dream to stay alive. Be interesting to see if they do pick up a point or a win where we go for in match day 3, but at the moment Paraguay, considering they got, as I say, demolished 4-1 by the USA, this will be quite the turnaround and quite the performance. Outswinger from Aragula. It's a decent delivery, but Paraguay deal with it again. Shot outside the area, Calhanoglu. It's blocked away off of Alderete, and now they'll be able to clear it away. Will Paraguay, only to the feet of another Turkey defender, but you just can't see. They haven't created. I know they've defended and they've sat back of Paraguay, but even when it was 1-0 and 11v11 and Paraguay was sitting back, Turkey just haven't been able to fashion out anything of real clear-cut chances.
No, they haven't. I mean, everything Calhanoglu has hit today has been blocked at source, which I have to say is mightily impressive. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Opportunity now, though, looking for El Mali. Ball crossed in from the fullback is cleared away well in the end inside the penalty area by Cubas. Yeah, no, I think Paraguay defended really well. I think they made things really, really difficult for Turkey. Do you know what? I actually just kind of want to praise Paraguay. I think it'd be really easy to say Turkey been poor. No, Paraguay have been excellent. There's a chance now inside the penalty area. No handball given.
Unfortunately, it looks like that Hull, Dennis Hull, one of the substitutions, looking for. He's a handball, just a bit of an unfortunate one. And Galaza there with that. He had that early yellow card as well, didn't he? And he's just trying to get in the good books of the referee almost every time. Watching back. Badaki's cross, which was, of course, he put a great one in earlier. It was a poor cross straight to the keeper, but it looks like he might have been dipping over the keeper if he didn't deal with it, Hill. So that might have been 1-1 again, Turkey. It's just very similar to how, I know, different circumstances, Brazil, their first goal was as ugly as it gets to it. The clearance away off Mateus Cunha's left boot. Turkey would take anything even more ugly than that as long as it finds the back of the net. That's all that Vincenzo Montella and his players will or want. Uzun. Left hand side to Yilmaz. Cuts back inside on his right boot. Back to Uzun again. Paraguay defending in numbers, but defending so well. Is Uzun brought down? The referee says no, but it will be held still by Turkey. Badaki swings another decent ball in, header just goes wide. Unfortunately for Mulder, it's one of them, isn't he, that he's just he's turning around, he's trying to get underneath, and it's a decent delivery, just awkward one for Mulder.
It's probably just, the cross is probably just not aimed for him either, which is the problem. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen enough of Badakci crossing the ball, in my opinion. I think he's looked like the best deliverer of the ball for Turkey, and probably ought to have been in those positions a fair few more times. It looks as though Alexandro Maidana is ready to come on for Paraguay. The CA Talleres man plays his football in Argentina over Jorge Sampaoli, who European football fans will know for his time with Sevilla and Marseille, and also was Argentina manager for a year as well, alongside being taking charge of the likes of Flamengo and Santos. I'll break off as Paraguay coming forward now. Down to this, I think we're going to see another yellow card, as that's a firm challenge to say the least. I think it's Badakci who's gone in and he's caught his man, and I'm assuming the referee's about to brandish another yellow.
As the Paraguayan bench, I thought, was about to fly forward. He wins the ball, but he does go flying forward.
Yeah, to be fair, it actually doesn't make as much contact as I initially thought, but he sent him absolutely flying. I mean, it's going to be a painful one for him, but it's also going to be a painful one as well for Galaza, and I think we're going to have a relatively lengthy stoppage as Orlando Hill's gone down as well. injured, but the way he's appealing to the physios, I get the feeling there's not a huge amount wrong with him here.
No, and I say you're right in saying
the referee's telling him to get up. This is brilliant. What a game of football. Ivan Barton's my man of the match, I've decided. Oh dear.
Watch him back. So he takes a goal kick and he kind of pulls. So he pulls with his left foot, but then holds his right foot as injured. So referee gets the game back underway. It is Paraguay attacking forward. I'm sure the goalkeeper will have a few things to say, but I 100% agree. I think Ivan Barton's been fantastic this evening as the El Salvador. I'll be making sure to see when he's next officiating a World Cup match or post World Cup. See what he's involved with. He's making it entertaining, but he's being fair with it, with what he's doing and how he's officiating. Here comes Turkey. Sure, Hill still probably has a problem with that right foot of his. Kalanoglu, 30 yards out, tries to swing out to Yildiz. Lovely ball, lovely first touch. He wants to cut inside again, though it's just a little bit too easy to read. Kalanoglu swings it to the right hand side to Mulder. Ball into the box. Demiral is there, gets underneath it, and it goes wide. I said to get him in the box. I didn't mean for him to go with strikes with his boot. I was more for crossing to the back sticks, and it was one of them where it is awkward because it's coming to you. It's kind of a little bit behind him, but it just falls to the wrong player, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. It's a shame for Mehdi Demiral because it was a nice move from Turkey. They are not going to make this change. Our Paraguay Maidana is ready to come on. Who is it that's coming off? Orlando Hill still complaining to the referee, who's having absolutely none of it. Let's have a look, see who it is that's coming off. Was that potentially Caceres? Yes, it was. So like for like change, I believe, at least in that sense. Fantastic, I would say. Caceres really impressed me today. I know he wasn't great against the US, but really good tonight and done his team proud.
He has, and he completely proven me wrong. As I said coming into this game, before we went on there, I said to you, Caceres, he was a disaster in the first game. So look forward to Yildiz having fun with him, and he has been fantastic.
Yildiz has had anything but fun this evening.
He hasn't. He spawned Caceres. Even if he didn't win the ball, he would fight for the second one. He wouldn't give up, and it's kind of been what Paraguay have done. He's been excellent, but once again, Turkey coming forward.
Yeah, they certainly are. Ball to the edge of the penalty area is not a bad one. Here's Yildiz down the left-hand side, having a run at his man straight away. Oh, that's an effort from the edge of the penalty area. Wide of the post from Chan Uzun. I haven't seen anywhere near enough of him in the final third, but that wasn't far away.
No, it wasn't, and I think if anything, he scuffs it, unfortunately. But that's the kind of strike that can catch a keeper. Because you see Hill, he's putting all his weight to the left-hand side. If that's on target and just inside the inside of the post, I think that probably. I don't think the keeper gets there because he's trying to react to the strike. It just unfortunately, it was as I say, gets over it, slices it away. But what we'll say, Yildiz coming on. It looks like he's more up against the ever-experienced Velasquez now than Caceres. So even though it's fresh legs on as well with Maidana as well, it might be a better matchup for Yildiz. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we certainly will do. Ball now along the midfield for Demiral, who will then play it across over onto the far side for Ardagula. Here it is further wide now for Mulder into Gula once more. Chanaloglu will get it moving square for Badakci. Back to Chanaloglu once more over on the far side for Mulder. Mulder cuts in on his left boot, floated ball towards the back stick, isn't a bad one, it's overhit. And Galaza will happily see that roll out of play for a throw-in. Sensible play from him as the camera pans to the Turkish contingent behind the goal. They look rather nervous, it has to be said, and rightly so, because their team looked very close to leaving a major tournament early once more. Long lofted ball over top sent towards Enciso, header won by Shakir. And then Chanaloglu will try and gather it in midfield, but his loose touch sees it out of play for a throw. He's been so poor, Hakan Chanaloglu, today.
He has, and for so long he was the backbone of this national team, wasn't he? And he's been ever so good for the national team as the into midfielder. But you are right, he just hasn't looked at that pace today. I think as well, for all his technical ability, Martins, the 32-year-old. I just think the Paraguayan midfield have kind of running ragged a little bit, haven't they? As you say, every shot's been blocked, his passing's been off. I think it's been more that Gula and Yildiz, I think, unfortunately, as you said, rightfully so, I thought he was defended superbly, was Yildiz. That was more his problem. I think Gula's been very disappointing for me. Kalanoglu's never got going. And for Turkey, again, yes, Paraguay have, as you said, Paraguay have defended extremely well, yes. But if you are Kalanoglu, you'll be looking and going, that was disappointing this evening.
Yeah, he certainly has been pretty disappointing. As Enciso will float the free kick in. Oh, what a save! What a save by Czechia! Brilliant! I'm lost for words. That's come out of absolutely nowhere. The Galatasaray goalkeeper's done brilliantly well. I think it was Velasquez who was up for it. Brilliant stop, and somehow this game is still only 1-0 to Paraguay.
I'm not sure how, with more bodies in the box for Turkey, how Velasquez got that. A great delivery from Enciso. We know he's got that in his locker, but you just felt that Paraguay were putting bodies up there to pull them up there, but they're coming forward with Yilmaz again. Yeah,
but like Yilmaz, far side, trying to create the space. He's been held up brilliantly by Medina. Here it is now with Yilmaz once more. Wants a run now at Alonso. Gets away from the defender. Oh, that was the chance. That was the chance. It was Gull looking for it inside the 6-yard box. He's put the challenge in on Gustavo Gomez. He's left stricken. Brilliant ball in. Oh, he's ran past the ball. He's ran past the ball. I don't believe it. A huge opportunity. Another change being made now by Turkey. But actually being brought off. On comes the number 6. It's Orkun Kukcu who comes on. It's an attacking change. Having said that, Pataxi's looked the best crosser of the ball so far in this one. So I'm a little bit surprised by that. But on comes the Besiktas midfielder to replace the centre half. He's just throwing everything at it now for Turkey.
Oh, he's anything on. And I think you're right, but actually, I'd have said go play on that left-hand side, mate. Put some balls into the box, but here they come, Turkey once again.
Yeah, ball into the box is not a good one. It evades everybody and straight out of play. Although I think it's taking a deflection, and it will be a corner as Arda Güler comes running over to take it on the near side. There's a large number of Turkish fans behind the goal. Absolutely desperate for Arda Güler to whip in a good delivery here. Left-footed outswinger towards the penalty spot, headed away brilliantly by Gustavo Gomez. Although, what's the referee giving here? He's given a foul, I think, inside the penalty area for a challenge on Junior Alonso. So Turkey will have to give the ball back, and it will be another free kick for Paraguay. They've done so well at managing this game. 4 minutes to go plus stoppage time in San Francisco. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Let's have a look at the replay. Demiral, yeah, I mean, why he feels the need to pull the shirt from behind of Junior Alonso, I have absolutely no idea. They've been so bad for things like that this evening in Turkey.
I mean, with the offsides in the Brazil game, it's been silly fouls like that for in this game, hasn't it? It's been so poor, and Demiral, he's been pretty poor as well. Apart from the one strike he got on goal that was saved and there was a deflection, apart from that, he hasn't really shone in glory. But at the moment, I'm assuming it's basically him and Kalanoglu as a pack two at the moment.
I don't even know. Maybe he's Demiral on his own, to be honest. In fact, El Mali's joined him, but I think joined him in the loosest sense of the word, as that's a brilliant inception on this near side from Velasquez. Ball down the line is a decent one to Galaza. Oh, that's so bad from El Mali. He's gone straight through the back of Galaza and immediately waves his arms up in frustration, as if he's not won a million fouls like that in his career by throwing himself after any sort of contact in the back. Why on earth would you go in with two hands? Just baffling.
It's one of them as well, which really does get to me when you see things like that. Is, you know, if the roles were reversed, he's complaining it's a soft free kick, this and that. If that was Galaza on El Mali, he'd be the one going down and asking for the. He's just silly, as you say. Does he push him? No, but he puts his hands on his back. As soon as he feels contact, he's going to go down. And well, from the last free kick, there was that great header from Velasquez, different area, yeah. But not great how it's easy ways with set pieces. If Paraguay make it 2-0, that is game done.
Yeah, it certainly is. Julio Enciso will float this ball in towards the penalty spot. Heads go up. It's Gustavo Gomez who was up there challenging, but it's been headed away well by Turkey, sent back into the penalty area by Kubas, and Siso will now battle with Kenan Yildiz on this near side, and he's done brilliantly well, and Siso, Kubas leading the chase. Eventually though, Turkey do just about enough to get the ball back to Çakır. Now a chance for them to come forward. Here's Orkan Kukçu, ball in behind to Yilmaz. It's a great ball. Yilmaz cuts in, thought about the strike. It's double laid up. Oh, Stapling. Oh, it's wide. I can't believe it. That was the chance. I cannot believe Turkey have not scored. It's a brilliant ball in from Yilmaz. The strike initially comes in from Charazun, and then Dennis Goal from no more than 5 yards out has put it wide at the angle, and still Paraguay lead. Still just.
I think what might get him out of jail there is he offside. The linesman flag stays down. Watching a replay, he might be offside because that's the only thing sparing his blushes. You're right, that should have been one apiece. Kokcu, what a ball that was, as you say, for Yilmaz. And what we've been missing from Turkey all game long is that decision making in the final third. It's exactly what Yilmaz did. He put a great ball back in. Özil, if I'm being really critical, kind of just puts it straight at the keeper.
It was a good strike. He's had his blushes spared by the fact that Gull missed the chance, because otherwise I think he'd have really had to try and save face, because he struck that straight at Orlando Hill. As now Enciso late on will drive his side forward. Brilliant skill to get away from one defender. He'll then just play it onto the near side. Paraguay have got bodies forward here. The strike will come in from distance from Galaza. It's blocked. Shaves from early on in the first half as Galaza tries to kill it off. Turkey though will now flood bodies forward themselves down the near side. Ardagula held up brilliantly well by Velasquez. Was he fouled there, Ardagula? Yes, he was. In fact, it was Kubas with the challenge. And now Galaza's gone down with cramp. Turkey not happy. The changes are now being made. Galaza has run his socks off. I'm not surprised he's going off with cramp, as 7 minutes have been added on at the end of this second half.
I mean, we said, didn't we, at the end of the first half, if we get half of the entertainment, drama, tension, all that bundle into one in the second half, we're going to be in for a treat. It's exactly what we've got. The referee, I think he needs a rest as well himself, doesn't he? Because it's been such a tricky game, and Siso's coming off as well for this double change. There's a FIFA doctor onto the field at the moment as well. I'm not sure if because they are asking for the stretcher. I think what Turkey is trying to say is it's about 10 foot away from the sidelines. Is a stretcher really needed for cramp? But look, it ticks seconds off the clock, and well, Galazi got the goal, he got the yellow cards. We're going to watch his goal back again, and he had that strike a few moments ago. I'm sure, as you said, he was feeling deja vu that, well, I've already scored for about 25-30 yards out before, I can do it again. And Paraguay, well, from that neutral point of view, Turkey have been great, but Paraguay, they've brought so much entertainment to this game for the right and wrong reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you can have wrong entertainment, but exactly. If it is wrong, then that's fine, because I've loved it. I've loved every minute of it, I have to say. I cannot believe he's been stretching off here for cramp. That's made my day. Matias Galaza, off he goes. So a double change in. Siso off. He's been replaced by Gabriel Avalos of Independiente, and Jose Canale is replaced, has come on for the goal scorer. He plays for Lanús in Argentina as well, under Mauricio Pellegrino. Liverpool and Southampton fans will remember him from his time in England, as that free kick was wasted, and well, Turkey got to get the ball moving quickly, and they've got to get it towards the penalty area and get some balls into the box. Here's El Mali, steps forward and feeds Gula left side. The thing is though, if they equalise, it's not really going to mean anything, because they've then got to go and beat America, and probably by quite some way as well. They're going to have to recover some goal difference. So it's all well and good to get an equaliser late on. It's probably not going to be enough for Turkey going into the final game. Here's Yilmaz down the left-hand side. Not a bad ball in, but a foul there from Dennis Gull sees the free kick given.
Yeah, and it's silly from Hull, because first of all he pushes him, he might even give a clip of the heels for Gomez. You can see the free kick coming a mile away, and it just, again, what probably takes about a minute off the clock from when Paraguay will take the basically goal kick, free kick. Those Paraguayan fans are in some fine force. Feel for the Turkey contingent, as you said, that they've been fine in fine voice all evening. Gustavo Alfaro, I'm sure he's got his steps in on the sidelines. I mean, I'd love to see a dugout camp because they're all out there wanting. You can see every single thing they're asking for. But as you spoke about, I think the talk of the town will be Turkey being underwhelming and disappointing. But as you rightfully pointed out, neither of us want to take anything away from this Paraguayan performance.
No, I don't want to take anything away. All this game has been managed masterfully by Paraguay. Kenan Yildiz has given away another free kick. He looks absolutely furious, the Juventus man, as the camera pans to those Paraguay fans around the ground. They look absolutely desperate for the final whistle to be blown. There's still going to be some time until it's blown. 7 minutes added on. I get the feeling it'll be more like 8 or 9, given the injury to Galaza. Long ball sent forward, he's headed just straight up into the air by Avalos, and not properly dealt with by anybody in a Turkish shirt. He'll be gathered by Alonso over on the far side. Challenge comes in there by Mulder, who appealed for the throw-in. I think more out of desperation, really, than for any sort of hope that it actually was his throw, as Alonso will launch long into the penalty area, headed up into the air by Canale. Now they're relying on Kukçu to get this clear. Turkey, did he get it clear? No, he didn't, but he was fouled in the end by Avalos, so it'll be a free kick to the Turkish, one that they need to take quickly. In fact, it's been given us a throw, and it has. That was definitely a foul throw from Mulder, but referee says nothing. And then Demiral has a terrible clearance forward, easily gathered by Maidana in midfield. Here it is now with Velasquez near side. I'll be shocked if he crosses it in. Why didn't he go to the corner? He did cross it in, and he wasn't far away from finding Canale at the back post. Gathered now by Ardagula over on the far side. He's holding off Canale. Just play it back to the goalkeeper. What's he doing? He does eventually turn away from the Paraguayan, and he's fouled by the substitute. But he's killed about 15 seconds on his own there by just trying to turn the midfielder. Just lay it off and get it kicked long.
Especially because the goalkeeper is going to do that, boot it long, whereas Gula then he's on the ball now, he's trying to bring it forward. It's a put-up pass. He's been really disappointing as a Real Madrid man, especially because we know how good it can be. But Turkey, you're right about the draw as well. Yes, it takes points away from Paraguay, maybe more importantly, but still have a lot to do.
Yeah, they certainly do. Here it is now with Kenan Yildiz near side, cuts in his right boot, straight towards goal, blocked. Referee then waves away the non-existent penalty appeals. Still though, they'll come forward. Turkey down the near side. Here it is with El Mali across the penalty area for Kukçu. Kukçu, ball into the box, looking for Chanaloglu. It's headed away well by Gustavo Gomez. Here it is, corner of the penalty area for Yildiz. Yildiz lays it off. Strike comes in. It's Susan with it, and it's been blocked by Velasquez. Out of play for a throw-in on the near side. Somebody on the bench is appealing for a handball. I think that is generous. I think that's one of the backup goals. I think it's Mert Gunnock. As the ball comes in, headed towards goal, wide of the post. That was the chance, and Demiral's in tears. Demiral cannot believe he's missed it. What a ball into the box. And Merih Demiral falls to the floor. He is borderline in tears, the Al Ahly man. He can't believe it. It's Ardagula with the first real bit of quality we've seen from him all evening. Oh, he's got to score. He raises so much higher than Gustavo Gomez. Oh, that was it. That was it, and it was not far away.
I mean, as you said, that's the first piece of quality from Gula. That should be one apiece. Demiral, he's been the hero and the villain sometimes, hasn't he, with his decision making in the final third. And as you say, he's almost bawling his eyes out because he knows, as you said, how important, how big of a chance that was. That was the chance to take advantage. We played the 7 minutes of stoppage time, as you said. At least a minute, pushing 2, maybe even more of stoppage time.
They've got to go though.
Yes.
They've got to move it quickly. This is slow from Turkey. Çalhanoğlu into Orkan Kukçu. Kukçu over onto the far side for Yilmaz. Yilmaz tries to take on his man. Corner given. Good challenge from Canale. Doing the job he was brought on to do. See out this 1-0 victory for Paraguay. Quarter-finalists in 2010. Whipping boys by the United States in the first match day this year. But they are holding on for what would be a valuable 3 points this evening in San Francisco. Chanaloglu now, final chance to get the ball into the box. It's not a bad ball in. It's flicked on by Al-Mali. Gul can't bring it down. Cleared away to Arda Gula. Gula now 35 yards away from goal. Will feed Uzun on the left-hand side of the Turkish midfield. Uzun skips away from his man. Was he fouled there? Referee says yes. This is going to be a huge opportunity for Turkey. We've played an extra minute of stoppage time. Gula wants to take it quickly. Send the goalkeeper up. Get Ergüçen Çakır inside the penalty area. If they lose this game, they are out. There needs to be more bodies sent forward here. And Ergüçen Çakır has indeed been sent forward. Just get everybody into the penalty area. Needs to be a good ball in. Gula, it's not a good ball in. It's punched away by the goalkeeper. Only as far as Chanaloglu. Oh, wide of the post. Appeals that it should be a corner. Chanaloglu can't believe it. That was the moment. And there goes the full-time whistle. Paraguay have done it. Paraguay have beaten Turkey by 1-0. They've knocked the Europeans out. They've given themselves a chance to get out the group stage. A huge result in San Francisco this evening. The Turkish players can't believe it. The Paraguayans can't believe it. There's tears on both sides, but it is the South Americans who do it. Delight for Paraguay, despair for Turkey. Full time, it's Turkey 0, Paraguay 1.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer.